Okay, this is the audio board back in our audio room in the control room in our studio. The first thing you want to do with the audio board is find the power switch, and it's on the back. There's a white tag here that says power on back, and you're going to reach down and power it on. Now, the board should typically always be on already when you get here, but if it's not, that's going to be how you power on the board. Once you've powered on the board, you're going to come to the left-hand side of the board, and there's a black box here with frequency levels on it, and you'll see that 1K is already pushed down. So it should already be there. You shouldn't have to do anything, but if it's not pushed down, you want to make sure that the 1K button is depressed, and then come down to the yellow oscillator button. It says OSC here for oscillator, and that's going to help us trim the board to set our levels to what they need to be for our productions. So I'm going to press that yellow button. The oscillator is assigned to track 1, so you're going to go to track 1 here on the audio board, and you're going to zero out the sound. So right now it's completely down. You're going to bring it up to the level 0, where there's a black bar on your slider and there's a black bar here on the audio board. I'm going to bring that to 0, and now we want to bring up the main mix. Without the main mix, you're not going to have any sound that you can hear. So on the far right hand side of the board is the main mix. Now we're going to bring this up, but only until our levels show that they're at 0. Our levels are up here. If you follow the main mix straight up, you're going to see a green area with -30, 20, 10, 7, 4, 2, all the way to 0, and then the positive numbers of 2, 4, 7, 10, and 20. And you want to go to 0 because getting into the yellow numbers here, the 10, will start causing potential distortion, and into the red will be bad audio. So I'm going to slide up the main mix until we see the green level out at 0, and it has. Now that this is at 0, we have our board trimmed, so we need to bring down track 1 and turn off the oscillator button. Now notice the main mix stays how it was because that's telling us the level of the board. And now what we're going to do is find the right microphones that we need and bring them to the correct levels as well. At the bottom of the audio board, you see all of these different sliders, and they're associated with different microphones. You'll notice that 15 and 16 are our lavalier mics, and the lavalier receivers are located below our soundboard here. So once you mic up your talent and they're assigned whichever microphone, 15 or 16, you're going to use this slider to raise and lower the audio to get it to the level that you want. But you need to remember that once you assign a mic, hit the main mix so that that audio can come through to the main mix. And then you'll just keep an eye on the levels, just like you did when you trim the board, that they stay right around 0 when your talent are speaking through the microphones. In addition to that, if you've got someone that says something loud or something quick to where their volume is raised for a moment and then it's back down, you're going to need to do what's called riding the sound so that you go down when they yell and back up, and that takes some rehearsal and practice. But other than those types of instances, once you set the level, you should be fine throughout your production. And you're going to have headphones on here, but you're also going to be watching your levels. Your levels are going to be what tells you if the sound that you're getting is going to be usable or not. So that's the lavalier, 15 and 16. And when you come down to tracks 11 and 12, you'll notice that music and sound effects are assigned to these tracks. And it's basically fed through our computer here. So students will bring in music that may be intro music or outro music, and sound effects like a door slamming or a doorbell or someone falling, whatever. You're going to bring it here. Just like with the lavaliers, though, you want to press main mix first and then bring up your audio so that you'll be able to hear it on these tracks. And you know, with music, you don't want it to fight the dialogue, so you don't want to make it louder than people speaking, obviously, and same with the sound effects. You want to bring it to a level that's believable, where you don't want it louder than everything else, but you don't want it too soft that you can't hear it. And that just takes some rehearsing back here on the board. But without the main mix pressed, you're not going to hear anything, so make sure you do that on those tracks. Now, beyond the lavaliers and the music and sound effects, there's obviously a shotgun microphone, boom microphone, that's used on set. And on our studio floor, we have what's called a snake. It's a box with multiple XLR inputs on it. So you would choose one of the numbers to plug in the XLR input, and let's say you chose number 7, then you would come in here and press main mix, and then bring up 7, track 7, to make sure that you can get the studio audio that's coming from the boom microphone. Now, you can use any of these inputs except the ones that are already taken. We've already talked about the oscillator being assigned to track 1, so you can't have a boom microphone there, or 11 and 12 because of music and sound effects, or 15 and 16 because those are assigned to the lavalier microphones. Other than that, you can use the snake to plug into any of the other available inputs and then bring your sound in through the board here with the main mix and the slider. In the middle of the board, you're going to find all of these knobs here, different colors. You see some green, you see some orange, blue. All of these knobs are not to be touched. They've already been set, calibrated for the board, and they don't need to be messed with at all. So when you see these and you wonder what you should do with them, the answer is don't do anything with these knobs. And at the very top of the audio board, you'll see these white knobs, and right underneath them in capital letters it says the word gain. These bring up the gain in your audio, and these are able to be used, but you need to ask the professor or the broadcast and cinema specialist about that before you do it. There are times where audio needs to be boosted and gain is the answer, but for the most part, just the sliders on the audio board at the bottom that we'll talk about are what you need to worry about. But these are permissible to be used if you check with the professor or the broadcast and cinema specialist if you need to boost your audio. Okay, this is our audio computer in the back room next to the audio board, and you see here that we've got several files that have been imported. If you're bringing in a file on a flash drive, make sure that the flash drive has been formatted to a Mac. And then the files preferably should be in a .aiff file. That is the most preferable format. We also do accept .waves, not MP3s though. MP3s, the sound is too compressed and it's not conducive to broadcast quality. So make sure that you've got a .aiff file or a .wave. And then once you get your music onto the desktop from your flash drive or your sound effects, whatever it is that you brought in, consult the broadcast and cinema specialist so that they can have it opened in QuickTime 7 and that's all ready to go for you to play. Then it will be up to you to take these files, obviously, and get them to the correct levels and obviously timed into your project so that they're playing when you want them to play.